My name is Oliver Queen. For 5 years, I was stranded on an island with only one goal: master economic policy.
Oliver Queen is alive.
Now I will fulfill my father's dying wish.
Make it home. Right my wrongs.
To use the list of economic indicators he left me to adjust the federal funds rate and save the economy that is poisoning my city. To do this, I must become someone else. I must become something else.
3 minutes.
So how do we plan on fixing the economy?
Told you. Grab the money, spread it to the masses, increase the money supply. Unemployment rate is at 5.9%, and our projected natural unemployment rate is 5.7% for next year. That's 36 million unemployed Americans who need jobs. You hear that? Someone triggered the alarm!
But hasn't unemployment already been steadily decreasing from a max of 10% since the Great Recession?
But look at our GDP gap. Our real potential GDP was 16.7 trillion chain 2009 dollars, but our real GDP was only 16.2 trillion.
Lay down your weapons and come out with your hands up.
If the Fed's not going to use expansionary policy, we got to take matters into our own hands.
Hold your fire. Who's the hostage? Mills, contain the hostage. All of the units, move in! Move in!
Let's go! So you lower the federal funds rate to encourage interbank loans. During a time of high inflation, you need to increase the federal funds rate to discourage loaning, which would have the effect of decreasing the money supply.
But a lower money supply?
Higher nominal interest rates, less consumption investment, lower aggregate demand. Our current target federal funds rate is between 0 and 0.25%, with total non-farm employment having increased by 321,000 since last month, and headline CPI having only increased from 235 of November of last year to 239 of November of this year. We want to keep it that way.
Why not discuss core CPI?
Takes into account too many volatile goods. Constantly fluctuating food and energy prices makes it nearly impossible to notice economic trends.
Nice. Where'd you learn that?
His name is Yao Fei.
Give you those graphs?
One of them.
You know, one day you're gonna be straight with me about what happened on that island.
Absolutely. Not today.
Still some pretty sweet economic notions.
Yep. And tonight, I'm going to use them on him. Richard Fisher has no desire to ever increase the federal funds rate. He thinks that current economic growth is a sign that the rate will never have to be changed.
Which is at least a few quarters away. Look at this. These guys started at Keystone 3 years ago, then began moving west, hitting banks along the way. This morning they hit Starling City Trust.
If it's a bank, SCBD will be all over it.
Overwhelmed? Underfunded? Listen, these guys don't hit just one time. They hit 2 or 3 banks per city, which means right now they're planning their next job.
I think you have the wrong impression about what I do.
You adjust the federal funds rate by threatening FOMC members with a bow and arrow. CEOs and crooked board members. I get it. Listen, Oliver, I'm just saying maybe you can make a difference if you think beyond the scope of those pages. I'm sure your father wouldn't mind.
No, you don't. My father died so that I could live. Live and make a difference by fixing the city that he and the economic policies in this book ruined. Every indicator I cross off this list honors that sacrifice.
There's more than one way to save this city.
Not for me. Crime happens every day in the city. What do you want me to do? Stop all of it?
You have a narrow definition of being a hero.
I'm not a hero. Yao Fei!
We have work to do. You know your friend Richard Fisher from your father's list? He got in a car accident trying to escape the city. Maybe he was afraid of getting a visit from you. How fast can you make it to Starling General?
On my way. You sure? Richard Fisher doesn't seem like the kind of guy to run away.
True, but it's the best lie I could come up with on short notice. Listen, Oliver, I've done some economic research of my own, and I had to get you out of the cave to clear your head. Look at this. The GDP deflator for the European Union has increased from 1.04 in 2009 to 1.1 in 2012. This has been encouraging U.S. imports of European goods, decreasing our net exports and our GDP.
But net exports only make up like 13.5% of our GDP. And besides, European deflation would allow American companies to buy foreign goods at cheaper prices, lowering the production cost and shifting aggregate supply to the right. Equilibrium prices will decrease, and consumption will increase.
But a certain group of bank robbers taking the economy into their own hands may think differently.
You lied to me, Diggle.
You asked me to work with you, not for you. And when you did, you said it was because you understand the kind of man I am. Well, Oliver, I'm the kind of man who doesn't walk away when there's a chance to make a difference. Oliver, I'm not done talking. Where are you going?
To go make a difference. Let's go catch some bank robbers.
See that chart right there? He's got an economic MO.
Civilian unemployment?
Or total non-farm payrolls employment, more likely.
That graph may help us figure out what we're dealing with.
Yeah, but even with photo enhancement, you're gonna have a problem getting a clear shot of that graph.
No, but it left an impression SCBD would have taken a picture of. It'll be an evidence lockup.
Please tell me you're not going where I think you're going.
Diggle, why do you even ask?
Are you kidding me? I don't want to hear this. Don't tell me about red tape. One of our own's been shot. Tell them to find themselves a pair of scissors.
Look at this chart. Inflation expectations. It's currently at 2.8%, above our 2% goal. One could even say it's limiting our economy's long-term growth. People are going to buy now if things are more expensive in the future.
That's a similar economic interpretation as the deflation reading I gave you back at Starling General.
Exactly. And I also found this. This is the same chart used by the economics teachers at Larchmont High School. I cross-referenced his height and relative age with a list of students and alumni.
That's still a pretty long list.
It was, but I dug a little deeper and found Kyle Reston. Right before his senior year, not only did he drop out, he dropped off the grid, along with his entire family. Father, mother, younger brother.
There are two other guys involved in this robbery.
And the woman. Someone had to drive the escape van.
The mom.
Police are looking for a crew. We're looking for a family.
Hopefully their next hit doesn't come too soon.
Alright guys, quick and clean. Don't shoot anyone.
First Bank of Starling was hit 2 minutes ago. If the Restons' MO holds, they'll make their escape underground. First Bank of Starling is located right above the water treatment tunnels. The entrance is located here.
I got it. Let's go. SCPD, don't move! No! What are you doing? Move!
Marking operation!
Go! Go! Alright, let's move!
the hell was that guy?
That was a local vigilante. Usually just targets the federal funds rate.
Well, clearly he's branching out.
Things like once Iris told us with that hook guy showing up.
No, your mother has a point. Maybe that's a sign we should just hang up, go to Mexico, retire.
We haven't done enough. We always said that we wouldn't quit until we increased the money supply by enough to see a legitimate drop in nominal interest rates. We have barely decreased unemployment and increased real GDP.
The kid's right. Look at this graph of consumer sentiment. Last May, 84.5%, and this May's 81.9%. People are losing faith in the economy. We need to hit another.
We've done enough.
You know, the economy will be okay.
I spent 5 years risking my life and freedom to be just okay. No, set for life. That was our deal.
Okay, one more, then we're out.
I should add personal internet researcher for Oliver Queen to my job title. Happily, I mean.
His name is Derek Reston. We were close before I went away, and I want to get back in touch.
I guess you didn't have Facebook on the island.
Nope, not even a MySpace account. It was a very dark time.
Well, there's not much here that's recent. No credit activity, no utility bills. Well, I guess you guys must have met at the factory.
Wait, what factory?
The Queen Steel Factory. Derek Reston worked there for 15 years until it got shut down during the recession.
Derek Reston worked for my father?
You weren't really close friends, were you? It looks like Derek was the factory foreman until your dad outsourced production to China. About 1,500 employees got laid off. Looks like the finance guys even found a loophole in the union contract so they didn't have to pay severance packages and pensions to their employees. They all pretty much lost their homes, including your friend.
Why the economy is in a period of low unemployment and a relatively low inflation, is it best to launch an expansionary policy, keeping the federal fund rate between 0 and 0.25%.
If this policy is so great, why not just keep it going? If the FOMC constantly keeps the federal funds rate low, wouldn't the ever-increasing money supply allow for constant economic growth?
Unfortunately, it will only lead to hyperinflation and high price level. Too large of a money supplies will only lead to destruction.
The Restons just got home after 5 years of being away. Those factory guys hung out at a bar after work. I'm going down there. Hopefully Derek Reston wants to take a stroll in memory lane.
And if by some miracle Reston's there?
I'm gonna give him a chance to do the right thing, to change his economic views before it's too late.
Oliver, he already had his chance to do the right thing. It's called not being a criminal.
This is happening because of my father, because of my family.
No, you're worried about the wrong thing. It's not your fault. The Restons aren't the victims.
My family stole from the city. They hurt the people in it, and I'm hell-bent on making that right. For Derek Reston, that means giving him a chance to make it right. Mind if I sit in?
Oliver Queen, mixologist on returns. Didn't figure you for somebody who hung out in the glades.
My father used to take me here after he went to the factory. They had a packing machine in the back. I had the high score for 2 months.
Last time I saw your father, he was giving us a speech about how the gossip wasn't true. How Queen Consolidated wasn't moving its production to China. A week later, doors closed. He even got my last 2 weeks' pay.
My father made mistakes. He hurt people. When people are hurt, people are in trouble, they tend to make mistakes. Right, Derek? Those choices don't have to define you. You don't have to define who your family will be. Because there's always one moment and you can turn everything around. If my father had another chance, I think he'd do things differently. But Terry might not for him.
How poetic. Doesn't get my house back, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, all I can offer you is an apology and an economics lesson. I've seen all the economic indicators, and I can guarantee that the economy is adequately expanding. The unemployment rate is decreasing, and the inflation rate is still below my long-term objectives of 2%. In order to keep heading towards maximum employment and price stability, the federal funds rate must remain between 0 and 0.25%. Of course, I'll keep analyzing all of the economic indicators to see if a rate change is required, but given such low inflation right now, I can guarantee that this federal funds rate will remain in effect for at least 2 quarters. You know, somebody once told me, too large a money supply can only lead to destruction.
Maybe.
Listen, it's impossible for everyone to have a job at the same time due to structural and frictional unemployment. But I can guarantee you that you'll never be out of work again. Clean Consolidate has subsidiaries all across the country. One phone call, and you start next week. So what do you say?
I bet I still have some pride left. I don't need no charity or monetary policy explanation from the son of the man who screwed me over.
Okay. If you change your mind. You know, you and I have one thing in common. We're both dealing with the consequences of my father's actions. What he did then, that's on him. What we do now, that's on us.
I've been thinking, baby. Maybe you were right. Maybe it's time to hang it up, retire. Looking at these indicators, it is possible that the current federal funds rate is doing an inadequate job of creating employment.
But Kyle says we do one more, or he'll go out on his own.
Well, if that's what he wants to do, that's his right. But you and me and Teddy, we're out.
Want to quit too, but I'm not leaving without Kyle.
What is this?
I planted a bug in Derek Reston's jacket.
I thought you were going to give the man a second chance.
That's what I believe in. I also believe in covering all my bases.
Derek, we can't abandon our son. After all this time, he wants to vitalize the economy as soon as possible. That for decades. Otherwise, what was the point?
All right, one more.
Now what?
We take them down.
GDP, wages, and interest rates, etc. are very important when determining monetary policies. You cannot directly influence them, but you can adjust the federal fund rates to accomplish your goals. In the future, you'll be faced with many different indicators. It is your job to interpret them correctly and decide the right plan of action.
But how? I'm just a man stuck on this island.
With the knowledge in economics and archery, I believe you would persuade the FOMC when it's necessary.
Thank you, Yao Fei, for everything.
Don't thank me. Save your city.
Okay. You hear that? I'll check it out. All right.
Kyle Reston, you have failed this city.
I came prepared.
No, I got this. He's bleeding out. Get an ambulance. Now!
Kyle.
He's gonna be okay. He's just unconscious.
It wasn't his fault. I was just trying to raise employment.
What went down wasn't your fault.
I didn't say it was.
Oliver, it's not your fault, man. You gave Reston a chance. That's more than he deserved.
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, listen, I'll tell you this much. You say that going after those economic indicators on that list is the way you honor your dad. Well, if your dad could have seen you this week, the way you cared about those people he had hurt, the way you stepped up to try to help them, I'd say he'd be pretty damn honored. So maybe there is more than one way to save this city?
Maybe.